And we are back, season finale, episode 14 of season 2, Quantum Alchemists. I am your host, Mr. Alchemistic, but you can call me B. And I'm joined by Mr. Quantum himself, Alex Romero-Vengian. How we doing, brother?
What's up, B? What's up, everybody? And I'm doing great, man. Happy Uranus and Gemini. Uh, I'm not sure about you where you are, but where I'm at, people are losing their fucking minds,
Huh.
uh, in all kinds of ways, and even some places where I'm not too. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, 14. The irony behind today's show is I think we actually got started around this time last year when we got like our first episodes or first few episodes in, and we closed out the year the end of last year on 14, and here we are in 14, and we are just a little bit past the middle of the year, so it's like we're almost on schedule, bro. I feel kind of good. I feel good about that. I feel good about that.
Yeah, we're averaging about an episode every 2 weeks. This is episode 28. We had 14 in season 1, now 14 in season 2. We did I actually have the memory coming up on my Facebook of episode 1. We have released the first part of episode 1 on July 4th of last year, and we released part 2 of episode 1, the Purple Pill, which you can find
On
on
the
YouTube, on July 11th. So tomorrow will mark 1 year since our first episode was completely out there, and now here we are, getting ready to finish season 2, episode 28. It's been a cool ride, man. I really, honestly, bro, like this podcast has kind of kept me going in a lot of ways, through a lot of ups and downs and obstacles, and moving into a new area. I don't know how long I'm going to end up staying in Georgia, but I've been here for going on 10 months now, and you know, I, working towards a lot of things, as we both are, but there's been delays and obstacles, and it's just a challenge sometimes. So this podcast has been very therapeutic for me, and I think you could probably agree the same way. It helps us to verbalize the things we're feeling internally, that we believe about ourselves and what we're doing in our path, and it helps get past the things externally in our external that can be kind of deflating at times, and discouraging. And that's not consequently what this whole episode is kind of going to entail, is the distractions of the exterior world, right? And how a lot of people are wrapped up in these distractions. I want to talk a little bit about the Epstein stuff that's going on, because that ties in. But ultimately, you and I have been adamant from the beginning that you have to do the work. Like, we can bring you guys a bunch of truth and a bunch of knowledge and a lot of stuff that we've come across in our diligent searching for truth and our diligent inner spiritual work. We can kind of explain and bring our own experience to the table, but ultimately, you have to do the work, and it's a lot of people aren't willing to do it, which is fine. Maybe it's not your path in this lifetime to do this spiritual work, to come to this knowledge, to understand what this reality really is. Maybe that's not in the cards for you, and that's okay. It's okay if you don't want to do the work, but also, if you don't want to do the work, don't latch on to people like ourselves who are trying to do the work. And ultimately, our work is speaks for itself. And I got a lot of the work that I'm doing behind me. My artwork is, something that I use to bring about the spiritual truths that I am lucky enough to come across, and blessed enough to be revealed to me through my own spiritual work. And the art is just a way that I heal and express myself. And a lot of people aren't willing to heal themselves. And you know, Alex has his own experiences that he's been through in the last couple of weeks with people around him who are, he's realized aren't really in his best interest to have them around him, because they aren't willing to do the work. And before we get too much into your stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. Um, the world around us, right? We have this world within us that we are called to delve into in the spiritual path. You need to go within, and all these spiritual traditions, religions, whatever you want to call them, have called us to do the same thing. The mystic path is the one within, and Christ Himself was telling you, you're the temple. You need to go within, and like that's where the core of the healing and the spiritual work lies, is within you. But there's going to be no shortage of distractions around us that try to detour us from doing this work, that try to deter us from ever finding the path within us. And it's through ideologies that are saying, "Hey, over here, this is the path, this is the way, this is the only way." And there's also ideologies, political ideologies that we talk about all the time ad nauseum, about how it's a distraction and how the political system itself is designed to capture your energy and capture your power, and get you to give your power away to entities outside of yourself and keep you distracted from actually ever doing that internal work. This is the all the religious or political ideologies function, social ideologies function to do this, to get you to identify yourself, put yourself in a box, and to keep you wrapped up in these identities so that you never realize that it's all an okey doke and it's all bullshit. And, the Trump Epstein stuff is something that I wanted to talk about specifically because it is a highlight of, a lot of people have painted Trump, if you're a Trump supporter, as some kind of messianic messiah type of figure. Oh, he's going to save us. He's going to bring everyone to justice, right? He's going to change the government for the better. And a lot of us have been in these rabbit holes, seeing like the problems with government. And Epstein is a perfect conspiracy type of topic, where like we know that this stuff is going on, right? We know that there's like sexual deviancy and just different crazy shit happening, underage, pedophilia rings and all these like power structures in behind the scenes that are exploiting the youth or exploiting women or exploiting just people in general. There's an exploitation. Look at the Diddy stuff, right? The Diddy stuff, Diddy was exploiting men sexually for power, right? There's this power dynamic, and it's dark in the shadow of of sexual energy specifically. But like we've known this, right? If you're in the rabbit holes and you've rejected the mainstream narrative, we've warned you about this, right? Is the Matrix sponsored version of truth over here in the conspiracy world, that the Matrix has sponsored and created, the CIA created this whole subsect of the subculture in the conspiracy world. First of all, they created the conspiracy theory title, right? To demonize anybody who has rejected the mainstream. Oh, they're just a conspiracy theorist. And then they infiltrated the conspiracy sphere and pumped it full of misinformation and matrix sponsored versions of truth, right? Like the Q movement, where they wrap up a bunch of actual truth like pedophilia rings and dark satanic ritual abuse and ritual sacrifice and all this like really dark stuff that people think is just fantasy, or that was something from that's something that happened back in biblical times, right? Don't realize that it's actually still happening. And then they wrap it in with lies like, oh, JFK Jr. is still alive and he's going to come back from the dead or come back into the public sphere and expose all these swamp creatures and to drain the swamp, right? That's the Q movement in a nutshell. Is so they took truth and they wrapped a bunch of lies around it, and then they got a bunch of people reading it on 4chan in these dark parts of the web and believing this because it's the Matrix sponsored version of truth, and it's designed to make anyone who believes it crazy so that the mainstream people can look at them and be like, oh, these are conspiracy theorists, these people are nuts. And then these people over here that believe mainstream lies are looking at the people believing the Matrix sponsored conspiracy lies, and then they never look into the things over here and the truth, like the pedophilia rings, like the Epstein stuff, which has been like clawed to the surface. And now we're in this space where a lot of these conspiracy people were hoping Trump was going to come and expose all this stuff and drain the swamp. But in recent developments, they're saying, oh, there's nothing to see here. and you're seeing the brick wall at the back of the theater. The brick wall at the back of the theater is like, no one's coming to save you. Trump was never there to save you. Trump was a fucking distraction to prop up this illusion of the mainstream, right? It's this huge octopusian illusion, right? Octopussy. Look at that episode. It's episode in season one. Watch Octopussy. It talks about some of this stuff, but there is a grand illusion of in the exterior world, right? And if you really want to get down into it, it's frequency based, right? Like our reality is frequency based. You look into science, quantum physics, Nikola Tesla, it's everything's frequency based. Light is an energy vibrating at a frequency. Sound is energy vibrating at a frequency. Everything that our senses perceive, this reality, is vibrating at a frequency, right? So everything our body is perceiving, we talked about this last episode too, and we're talking about the computer and how it reads code, is how our body reads reality, right? So there's these frequencies that is this reality that our body is designed to consume and process. But also there is a synthetic frequency laid over the natural frequencies of creation. And that's where this stuff comes in. The phone, the fucking the TV frequencies, right? The TV, the internet, the Wi-Fi, all the fucking synthetic frequencies that our computer is downloading, that AI is running on, that this stuff is running on, right? That's the matrix version of reality, right? And that is control. If you really delve into it, I don't want to get too deep into this because then it's going to get real deep. That's Saturnian matrix illusion, right? It's I'm not going to go too deep into that rabbit hole, right? But
Not this time.
there's some the shadow and Saturn and Satan all are kind of wrapped into the same kind of thing, and it's a synthetic version of reality that is overlaid that our bodies are consuming and downloading, right? And you have to break out of this, and the only way to do that is to go within, activate the temple, and so much of this illusionary stuff, like hoping on Trump or hoping, if you're, a liberal or a left wing, hoping that someone can come out of the left wing and come back into power, right? It's all this illusion of power, this illusion of choice. Wow, that was a loud fucking, that was a lightning strike. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I thought you hit your computer. Oh, she looks
Weird.
freaked out,
It was loud, bro. It was really close. But yeah, it was like the universe is responding to my voice. Um,
right?
there's this hope, right? They keep pumping you full of hopium, right? That someone's going to come and save you. So if someone's going to come from the left, like Gavin Newsom or something, is going to come and save the liberals, or Trump is going to save us from the swamp, or it's all this externalizing, right? It's getting
Or
you to
or
hope on
wait,
something
or
external.
wait, or wait, or Jesus is gonna save you
Jesus, yeah,
without doing
Jesus
the
is coming.
work.
Jesus is coming on a cloud to save you from all of it. And honestly, it's all just a diversion from you doing it yourself. You doing the work. You need to do the work. You, right? Like, and we've talked a lot about, the ideology of Christianity and our problems with it. And that's one of the hardest groups of
That's not
people
what
to
this
get.
is about. That's not what this is
No,
about.
but that's one of the hardest groups to get through to, because like um, they've been so brainwashed with ideology that they don't understand what the actual message was,
Just
and
admit
it's
it. It was
okay though.
indoctrination, and I'm getting a big old like big old frequency like blasted in my ear right now about it being indoctrination.
Yeah,
You know,
it's everything is indoctrination into the Saturnian matrix, which is the external world, right? It's to get you to pour your energy and power into the external world and never go within. When all these traditions are telling you that the way is within, the way is within you, the way is inside of you. Your body is a temple. And if you're not willing to do that work, then you're going to find yourself lost and confused and hoping on something in the external world that's going to save you. That the politics is going to save you,
yeah.
or
But it
religion's
gets
going to
even
save
worse.
you.
It gets even worse than that. and I'm sorry, I'm going to chime in now.
No, I think it's your turn. Go ahead. I'm done.
It gets worse than that because it's not just the spectator sitting on the sidelines. It's the active participant now who's not only not doing the work that they should be doing, but they're actually going against you. That they're actually attacking people now because they're afraid of doing the work of the inner work. Because it's so easy to point outward and to look at everyone else except for yourself. It's the easy part. All right. So a little public service announcement. This is for my evil aunt Rosalinda. Bitch, if you reach out to me one more fucking time, I swear to fucking God, bro. You don't need to be adding me on Facebook. We've got nothing to talk about. Do you not have enough karma from coming after me and giving me your fucking dirty ass energy? I don't need it. You know exactly what the fuck you're doing. You can tell your people to lay the fuck off me, and you need to leave me alone. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. But I know she watches and she needs to stay the fuck up off me. Anyway,
There you go.
all right. So today we're talking about a lot of things, man. I'm telling you that Uranus and Gemini energy is no fucking joke. People around me have been losing their fucking minds. People think that it's okay. And I'm sorry, like, you know what? I have been guilty of this and maybe I'm partially responsible. This is part of my karmic debt. You know, I have longtime friends who when I was coming up, I wasn't always like this. You know, one of the things I wanted to talk about was growth through pain. Okay. I was asked earlier this week if I acknowledge or if I resonate with the name Victor or Alex. And my response to that, and I didn't mean to get upset at the moment. A lot of you don't know my first name is actually Victor. Alex is not even my middle name, it's Alejandro. But anyway, so I go by Alex. And this was asked by a longtime friend, and my response to her was, I'll respond to Victor because that's how people know me, but Alex did the fucking work. Alex busted his ass off to save Victor because Victor fucked up. And so when I have people acknowledge me I have a social media account, and I publicly call myself Alex because that's who I want people to recognize. I don't want people to recognize Victor. That was someone who didn't know any better. Okay. And it's okay to not know any better, which leads me to my next thing, which, it's funny because, and I wrote some notes here, but it's funny because there's a channel I like to watch. It's Ian from 144 from the Stars Tarot. That dude's fucking hilarious. If you're into readings and stuff, I recommend watching him. He's so good. But he said it really good earlier today. He says, if I slip off my path just a little bit, my house is fucking shaking, you know? And I hear, do I need to move you somewhere else? And it's like, no, bro, like my bad. Like I get it. I fucked up. And that's just me deviating a little bit. But here you got a bunch of people, and I'll throw even Christians along this because y'all need to hear this shit too. That y'all read the book, you read the text, but you didn't understand the text. The whole thing is a freaking codex for something else. It's what's in between the lines. But you know, you guys will go and you'll make mistake after mistake, keep fucking up. And it like nothing, it doesn't really matter to you, but it's like you and it I get it. Like Ian said, you're not bad children. Like you don't mean bad. You're just retarded. Like you just don't understand. And so like for those that do, it makes it really fucking painful, you know, when you've got, someone you love and you care about deeply and, you grew up partying and getting foobar. That was my middle name for a while, foobar. If you don't know what that means, I would recommend looking it up.
Hmm.
So, and then here I am almost 20 years later and I see and I look back on my evolution and like I look back and I see I'm like, damn, like I was straight crashing out fuck out. I was crashing out hard. God blessed me with some brain cells, so I'm able to think a little bit more, So like, but I look back and I'm like, I was crashing out hard. And so now I spent, some time with a really good friend this weekend and, I've been telling her to slow down, pump the brakes, like I'm not seeing any good stuff, red flags all over. And July 5th, I go to her house and we get invited to a pool party. And so we go, and she's, been drinking Crown all day, popping, mushroom gummy bears or whatever. And like, it's all fun and games. Like, yeah, we're all having a good time. And then, you know, uh, I see that she's kind of like a little out of some, hey, get out of the pool, She's like, no, leave me alone. I'm like, all right, just stay in the shallow and I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. So I go and I come back and I see she's kind of like made her way around like, not where I left her in the pool, but it's whatever. So I'm just keeping tabs on her because that's what my intuition is telling me watch this bitch because something's not right. Moments later, I just look around and I'm scanning. I'm like, damn, where'd she go? I don't see her. And then I look in the middle of the pool and I see bubbles. And I'm like, oh, this bitch. So I go and take off my shirt and I jump in. And I don't ask me how she's almost like 200 pounds. I managed to like lift her up out of the water and onto the side of the pool by myself. And like then I had one of her friends come and like help me get her the rest of the way off. And she took over doing CPR. And it's like I didn't even react like in any kind of way. Like I in fact, I was actually kind of stoic about the whole thing, which is or apathetic. Like I was detached because it was like I was just thinking to myself, like, the fuck, like
It's
really?
surreal. It's probably really surreal. Like that, yeah. You when you go through things like that, it's just like you don't have emotion or it. You just feel like you're in a dream or something almost. You know?
Yeah, it felt entirely like I'm like I can't believe I'm really living this. Like I'm still even like kind of going back. Like, did I really just save someone's life like that? Like, and and that's like the most literal sense of like saving someone's life. I know there's other ways you could do it with giving people good advice, but I literally saved someone's life and never been in that type of position. But I'm also like, I was also mad at myself at the time because I'm like, why in the fuck did I put myself in this position to begin with? And so then I started making real like asking deeper questions, and and it's like I saw the red flags, I called it out. I'd been saying pump the brakes, like you see it, but one of the things I told her, I had told her just a few weeks ago, I'm like, I can't fix you. Like, I can't do anything that you don't want to do, And for all of those of you watching, like, there's nothing B and I can do to help you. There's nothing that anyone can do to help you. Really, you got to help yourself. And that sometimes comes at a price that many of us aren't willing to pay. As of this weekend, I have decided that, friend, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna drink or do drugs, bro, like just don't call me. Like I told you I was gonna think about it, and I told you I was gonna debate, and figure out how I was gonna like because I couldn't let this go unchecked. Like I can't. Like I love you too much for that. And I love myself. As much as I love you, I love myself more. And I know that if I had witnessed or had been there and it was well, there's two sides to that story. One side is, had I not gone to this event, you would have still gone, which means you would not be here today because no one was paying attention. Not one person. There was like 7, 8 people there. Everyone else was paying attention to their own stuff. No one was paying attention to you. Luckily, God knows what he's doing. And I didn't want to go out this weekend. I really didn't. I've been trying to stay to myself because the vibes are all off. I know people are losing their minds. Everyone's batshit crazy. I really didn't want to be out, but something told me, nah, go. You need to be out today. You need to be out this weekend. So I was obedient. I went. And I know why I went. But I also know that now it's my responsibility to never put myself in that position again. And for any of you people who know me from the past, I don't get down like that no more. It doesn't tickle me. It doesn't attract me in any way, shape, or form. So don't ask. And for any of you new people coming into my life, like, you know what to watch out for. These are things that you got to call out people in your own circles, in your own family, in like, you got to save their life. Like, if you don't do it, like, you're complicit. Sorry. You are. I did it. I had to make the really tough choice of cutting her off. And I'm like, you know what? Like, and for anyone else who wants to play, who fuck around like that, like I love you guys, but you gotta save yourself. You gotta save yourself. And you know what? And the only reason I can speak with this conviction is because I had to do it. And you know what? You know who did it for me? Nobody. I had to do it. I had an addiction that lasted over 17 years using crystal meth. Yeah, if you guys don't know, watch my interview with B. The first interview I ever did, which is why this podcast even exists. Okay. God told me one day, this is the day you stop. And like that, cold turkey. So don't tell me you can't do it. It's all right here. So, you know, I wanted this to be a positive thing because it really is supposed to be, just knowing that like people like my stupid ass aunt who keep coming back in my life, doing like, she's not a good person. She's around evil people, and they get together and they pray to their demonic gods and they do evil shit. And trust me, they're sending out fucking demons my way, but my energy fucking, bitch, you can't touch me. You can't fucking touch me. And you know why that's your pissed. That's why you're pissed. Because you can't touch me. And one of the things that you said earlier, B, was, if they can't touch you, they're gonna go after people you love. And that's real shit. Because if you're gonna be close to me or B or people like us, we're powerful motherfuckers. And we gotta have strong people around us. Because those motherfucker demonic people, or those evil things, whatever entities, like they're coming for us and anyone around us. The last thing they want is for us to talk about the shit we're talking about. They don't want to hear us talking about Epstein list and how I sent you a picture earlier. I'm gonna tell my kids that everyone basically in a fucking congressional hearing is basically on the Epstein list. Why? Because if they're not gonna publish it, they're all pretty much complicit.
Well, I mean, one of the dirty secrets about the Epstein situation was that Epstein was an agent, right? Like the Epstein's
Like the
island
Mossad.
existed. Yeah, Epstein was a Mossad agent, and Mossad will never come out and say that because Mossad works in the shadows, right? By way of deception, we shall do war. That is their motto. And Mossad, if you guys don't know, Mossad is the CIA for Israel. And what the Mossad does is that it has things like Epstein Island, right, which is a honeypot. It's called a honeypot in the intelligence world. What a honeypot is they have things that are insatiable, right? They have sex parties, right? And they have underage women and kids and stuff. And what they do is
Oh, it got too real,
powerful
bro.
they film
It got
powerful
too real.
people. Yeah, film
It got
powerful
too real.
people. Yeah, it's getting unstable. That doesn't matter. They film powerful people in compromising positions with doing sex acts or deviant acts or sacrificial acts, right? Like Anthony Weiner's laptop. Look, there's a file on Anthony Weiner's laptop when he was arrested called life insurance. And there is a very powerful sacrifice video with HC and his wife doing a sacrifice on a girl. Like that's it was called frazzle drip, right? Like look that up, frazzle drip. That's some more stuff they don't want you knowing about. But there is some very deviant, evil shit happening in the shadows. And what stuff like Epstein does is they videotape it. Same thing with P Diddy, right? The P Diddy shit. P Diddy had all these videotapes of people in compromising positions. That's what these are honeypots, right? And what they do is they blackmail people to do what they want. That's why the government never changes because they're all blackmailed, right? That's why it's all so evil and why people like Trump come in. You think he's going to do stuff and he never does, right? Because they're all compromised. Anyone on that level that gets to that level of politicians, gets that level of power, they've all been in these honeypot operations, and sometimes they do it on they like deliberately do it. They say, you know what, we're not going to give you this powerful position unless you would do an underage sex act with a minor, and we're going to
Right.
videotape it so we have blackmail on you. And they do
Right.
it. They don't just do it like secretly. They do it like, okay, you want to
Open.
be a senator, you want to be a prime minister of England, you want to do that, you want to be a powerful person. Well, we're going to need to get blackmail on you so that you do what we say, And if you step out of line, then here comes the blackmail.
Right.
And that's exactly how it works. And if you don't want to believe that, then you just keep your head in the sand, Mr. Ostrich. But like
Right.
that's how the world really works. And
Right.
the
Which
powerful people have everybody in the illusionary power structure of government. Government is an illusion. It is mind control. It is not real. The government is there to give you. This is a George Carlin comment. George Carlin quote: the government exists to make you believe that you have a choice. You have no choice. They're all bought and paid for. Watch that George Carlin stand up, and you'll get a little bit more of an understanding of what is really going on here. It's all been bought and paid for. It's all work. It's all the table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and it's an unfortunate truth that a lot of people don't want to come to the realization of. But ultimately, it's all the distraction, right? Even knowing that the game is rigged is a way to take your energy and take your power and take your hope away, right? The only way out is in. The only way out is in. I'm telling you that. And if everything that exists to keep you away from that is a distraction from the truth of what you really are, which is a powerful being made in the image of the
the
creator,
creed.
right?
Yes.
You are a mini version of God. God gave you a piece of himself and
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 put you on
reality
this
is
planet.
and reality is spiritual, it's not biblical. There's a difference.
100%. And this is the type of truth that is ingrained in a lot of these traditions, is in these scriptures, but it's deliberately misinterpreted for the masses, and it's made to seem like it's blasphemous, right? When it's the actual truth. The body is a temple of the living God. And the the way that you connect is this is another thing too, something that I've been coming to a realization of is like a lot of these religions, right? They're trying to get you in groupthink, right? They're trying to get you into boxes of like structured belief. But the truth is like your fingerprint, right? You have a fingerprint. It's unique to you. You're the only one that has that fingerprint. And I believe that the relationship with God is the same as the fingerprint. I think for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different. That's why you'll hear these spiritual tales of like stories of how people came to their Kundalini awakening or their spiritual awakening, and there's similarities across the board. But there is no streamlined. You need to do it this way to make it work. The only
There's
way
no one size fits all.
there's no one size fits all. What you have to do is you have to go within and find that piece of God that He left inside of you, and that piece will lead you to what's right for you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's very personal. That's why I'm very personal about my relationship with God. I don't try to push what I do on anybody else because what I do works for me, and it may not
Yep.
work for you. And
Yep.
what works for Alex may not work for me. What works for
Right.
me may not work for Alex. But all I
And
know is like when you're on the right path, the right people find you. And like
yeah.
I would have never gotten to this place with Alex if I wasn't on the right path. He wouldn't, and vice versa with him. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be in this position right now if we hadn't followed our own personal um spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And that's the magnetism, right? That's what activates the
Well,
temple, what activates
I
the
want
electromagnetism of the body to being
I
start
want to touch
magnetizing experience and people to you.
I want to touch upon that because we talked about something in our pre-talk earlier, and you know,
We only got 2 minutes left. You want to just do it on the
okay,
other side?
yeah, yeah. Let's come back. Well, when we come
Yeah,
back, let's talk about relationships, interpersonal relationships and boundaries, and I think that we'll touch upon some really cool stuff there. We'll be right
absolutely.
back.
And I do have one quote I want to try to sneak in here real quick.
If
Um,
anything, you do when we come back, so you don't have to like
no, this is
flash
a
it.
really short one. This is from Omar Mikhail Ivanov from Freedom, the Spirit Triumphant. Repeat to
Go.
yourselves every single day, I must do my work. It is my spiritual divine work that is important. That is the only thing worth doing. If you say this to yourself frequently, you will begin to feel free of all the agitation and distress around you. You will become a channel for blessed, beneficial currents and friendly, beneficial entities. And you will begin to understand the meaning of life. As soon as you manage to change your level of consciousness, certain dark, troubling elements will begin to go out from you because you will no longer be satisfying their demands for food and shelter. You will even lose your fear of death. Death has often been depicted in fearsome forms and colors, but in reality, none of that is true. Death is a liberation. For an initiate, above all, it is a liberation. For when an initiate dies, he is not simply changing his place of residence, he is going to a royal welcome. He is going to his coronation.
Awesome. I love that because I have something to say about that when we come back.
Absolutely. So that's it for part one. Come back for part two. We'll be right back. Are you tired of energy vampires always trying to suck away your energy? Do you wish there was a better way than evil eyes, crystals, and spells to protect your energy? It's understandable. When you're a chosen one, there's no shortage of vampires trying to come in and steal your shine. And spell work and crystals can be exhausting. Well, you're in luck. Hi, I'm the Alchemistic, and I've developed a foolproof way to protect your energy from all types of energy vampires. Allow me to demonstrate. Are you ready, chosen one? I call this technique the Heisman. It's very simple to perform. Imagine this football is your energy. You just take that energy, tuck it away in your outside arm, and you give that energy vampire the Heisman. Not today, bitch. Now this technique works for any type of energy vampire. Say you've got that friend who always likes to dump their problems on you. They're just a black fucking cloud of problems, and every time you give them advice, they don't fucking listen. Give that bitch the Heisman. Say you have a boss that always asks you to do a double. You did 3 doubles this week. You're exhausted. Heisman. Maybe there's an opportunist from the past who has seen your glow up and knows you're shining and wants to sneak back into your life and taste that sweet, sweet abundance. Spin move, Heisman. Maybe you got somebody that always likes to shit on your dreams and tell you how it's not going to work out. Or what if this happens? You know what I'm going to say. Heisman. You set the intention. This person is no longer going to take my energy. And you tuck it away and you give them the Heisman. Metaphorically speaking, visualization is key. And we are back for our season finale of season 2, episode 14, talking about doing the work. And Alex has some stuff to add to that quote at the end of part 1, if you guys hopefully were listening. And we'll
Why don't
see.
you go ahead and just reread it real quick? Might as well. We'll go into it real quick.
Yeah, it was from Omar Mikhail Ivanov, who's a guy I like to quote quite often on here. Um,
And I am asking him to reread it for a reason, guys. So don't lose your patience just yet.
okay, the quote: "Repeat to yourselves every single day, I must do my work. It is my spiritual divine work that is important. That is the only thing worth doing. If you say this to yourself frequently, you will begin to feel free of all the agitation and distress around you. You will become a channel for blessed, beneficial currents and friendly, beneficial entities. You will begin to understand the meaning of life. As soon as you manage to change your level of consciousness, certain dark, troubling elements will begin to go out from you because you will no longer be satisfying their demands for food and shelter. You will even lose your fear of death. Death has often been depicted in fearsome forms and colors, but in reality, none of that is true. Death is a liberation. For an initiate, above all, it is a liberation. For when an initiate dies, he is not simply changing his place of residence, he is going to a royal welcome. He is going to his coronation. Omran Mikhail Ivanov from Freedom, the Spirit Triumphant.
I love that. I love that because it's everything that we've been talking about. And and I want to touch upon that because I want to let people know, like, I send the links out to my friends to watch sometimes, and sometimes they'll ask me. Shout outs to Ian, bro. I love you, kid. You're a good guy. And sometimes, doing the work for empaths like myself, like yourself, B, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but you can, if you want to agree, whatever. But, integration and awakening is not easy. It's not like gloriously like it's not easy work. It's actually very draining. And um and so when you have situations, like when you go through this situation, like when you go through the process and you do enlighten yourself and you become more energetically charged, you are an you're a walking storm. Like you are the eye of the storm when you actually fully activate. Like you will walk into places and shit will literally go haywire around you. And it's not because it's your fault, it's because the world around you is haywire and you're the order to the chaos and it doesn't like it. So that's why things happen.
Well, you're a
And so
node in the
when
electric current. Like
right, you're node in the electric current.
if you look at it
100%.
like an electrical grid, right? We have the nodes, or if you look at like that's computer talk, right? Nodes. There's the main nodes that are the transmitters for the code or the energy or the that's what you are. You're like a lightning rod in the storm.
Right.
You're
So
channeling the energy, the electricity, and the magnetism.
100%. And so as you're doing this, like well, for you to get to that level to where you're a conduit, like you had to have done already a tremendous amount of work. And so once you've done that amount of work, like you walk around places, you're that conduit, like you can go into situations and into other people's energy field and it'll just drain you, not because of anything that they're doing, but it could be things happening somewhere else. Like for example, you know, I've had recently some of my ops, and I call them ops because I know that they're ex alphabet agency people, attached to different organizations and attached to different sectors of government with links to people high up and I mean shit all the way back to the White House as far as I remember. And they're sitting there poking and prodding, asking me what I'm up to. And like and they want to collaborate on some stuff. And I'm like, you know what, man, like and the irony is that all that happened around the same time my stupid ass aunt reached back out to me. And so, like, is it coincidental? I don't know, but I'm like, I know that she's responsible for a lot of interference or opposition in my life because of stupid things that she continues to do and thinking that I'm not aware, like I'm a sort of moron. You know, I want to I want to remind people, you know, hidden motives and agendas against a high priest or emperor, bro, just doesn't work. Like we could see your stupidity and we can do the math. Okay. Um, and a lot of it's not, I don't have to see it to feel it. I could feel it without seeing it. All right. So just for the record, and I'm
Yeah, it
saying that
always
because
kills me. It always kills me when people try to pull one over on me. It's just like, do you really realize what you're doing? Like, it's
yeah,
funny. Anyway, sorry.
it's like Lulu on your shirt, bro. They're straight
Yeah,
clowns.
yeah, you're a fucking clown. You think I don't know? I knew before you even thought about coming as an op. I already knew. Like,
Bro, it's so stupid.
I
And
was
so
getting
like
birdies
what
chirping in my ear about you fucking 6 months ago, and
it's funny. And so it's like so I let things happen, like they're poking and prodding, see what I'm up to, and like they know, like, bro, they know that I'm this fucking close to a breakthrough. That's why my friends are getting attacked. That's why I'm getting all this overload and energy. And sometimes, bro, like I need to sit home and I really just need to sit in a place and do nothing sometimes and just be in my own energy. And I need to work on the things that I'm called to do. I recently got a license to this AI software that I'm going to be making ebooks. I'm super excited about that because I want to put together. Remember that website I showed you that has like all that stuff, like conspiracy, like fucking floodgates archive stuff? I want to start taking that website and I want to start making ebooks out of the information on those links and taking all the pictures and like really like adding fucking value, production value to it. You know what I'm saying?
no, I mean,
And like,
dude, like this is one of the things we wanted to talk about is like going forward. Like this is the end of the season two. Like if you guys have been on board, thank you for coming along on the journey. Thank you for help supporting the
really,
podcast. There aren't very many of you, but we're 28 episodes in, and I feel comfortable telling you guys this is not what we envisioned for the podcast when we started it. It's kind of taken on this different form than we had originally intended. We had a bunch of great ideas from the get go, what we wanted it to be, different segments that we wanted to do, and different stuff. But it just didn't materialize that way because one, we don't have funding, and two, I ended up coming out here to Georgia 10 months ago, and it's kind of just devolved into this Zoom meeting format where it's just out of necessity. It is what it is,
Yeah.
and it's kind of
But I'm
just
grateful.
become, yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like I said, it's like therapeutic for me to talk to you because
Yeah.
there's very few people in my life who understand me. Like literally, like you're probably the only one. Like everybody else thinks I'm fucking crazy, or that caught I'm on a good one, or I've lost most of my friends from LA.
Yeah.
Nobody, I like honestly, I'm so isolated, and to have you as an outlet is very much a blessing, because you
Yeah.
understand me and you understand what I'm going through and what I've been through and what I'm experiencing. So that's a blessing. But like our original vision for the podcast was much more comprehensive, and we want to kind of get back to that vision after this episode. This is the end of season 2, so now it kind of gives us some time to regroup and to refocus on the original vision and intent that we had with the podcast, and go back to that notebook of ideas we had, and how we wanted to format it. And so yeah, man, like I think that archive was something that was supposed to play a big part. We were going to go through
Yeah.
and go through this information every episode. We didn't end up doing that because
Yeah.
honestly, life happens, and like there's been a lot of stuff happening in the world that was relevant, that just was calling us to kind of get
Yeah.
across. And I think we've kind of laid the groundwork in a lot of ways. If you guys have been following
Dude.
along, and even if you haven't, it gives us something to point back to and be like, hey, go back and look at this stuff if you guys aren't
Well,
well versed in what's going on.
the really cool
So,
thing is the really cool thing is that, we did set a lot of groundwork to let people know what we're about, what we're doing. And so moving forward, one of the things I'm going to work really heavily with Beyond is to try and make these episodes a much shorter, much more to the point and direct and concise messages, to keep them around maybe 15, 20 minutes long. And if we end up going into several different other things, like we'll chop them up into smaller pieces and we'll distribute them over the course of time. But I've been going over some of the analytics and some of the metrics. I see most of you guys watch between 15 and 20 minutes. Most of you actually like 8 minutes, but there's a few that go 13, 15 and above. So I want to make sure that like I can deliver the message that we're trying to deliver, which we could have totally done that today. I mean, I think we delivered several messages to a few people today. Um, and but that being said, like, this is going to give us time to take a little bit of time to work on ourselves. This is going to give me the opportunity to cross the T's, dot some I's on some things I've got working. I really want to get this quantum network launched. I want to be able to come back with B and do short segments on YouTube and then bring you guys into the network where you guys will be able to see the information, download it for yourself, look at it in a really nice, digestible format, and also be able to go along with the stories that go with it. I want to be able to go more in depth into it, but like B said, we've hit a snag on funding stuff, and so right now I'm gonna go and we're gonna self fund this just like we've been doing it. We're gonna fucking keep doing this shit,
well,
and nothing's gonna stop this great thing.
I think another thing that's really been, this is something we've discussed in private, is like our reach has been somewhat stifled. We feel,
Mm. Yeah, for
I
sure.
would say, I don't know if you want to call it shadow banned, or for whatever
Censored.
reason, we hit this peak about 8 episodes ago, I believe. Sometime during season 2, we had like 100 and something views out of nowhere. It was like we were getting like pretty consistently 50 to 70, which is pretty good considering we only have 36 subscribers. And then all of a sudden we had an episode that was like 100 and something, and then ever since then we haven't cracked 20. So it was almost like we put out this signal on that big episode, and then something came in and snapped back our reach.
And say
And
rejected.
yeah, it's been really strange. And then like when we post new episodes, there won't be notifications. Like I'm
Mm-mm.
following the Quantum Alchemists on my other YouTube, and I
Mhm.
don't get notifications when new episodes come out. So
Yeah.
something's going on that's fucking throwing wrenches in the works, and like we want to try to experiment with shorter content and see if that maybe that will grab people's interest, and then drive it to a longer form on Alex's platform once it's launched. I think that
And
that.
once that happens, what I also want to do is I want to go more live in there because I want to like that's gonna be like our community, like that's gonna be the place where we can go and we can talk about all this stuff and like we can share, our opinions about how we feel about things, going on, and like it's a safe space for us, obviously, like um and so that's a place where, for one, I'm going to be migrating all of my social media to there. So if you guys are following any of us on any of other platforms, B, you don't have to do anything. I'm going to exclusively move my stuff into there because I don't see the value of keeping my data on other platforms. They're not paying me for it. In fact, I get no benefits from it, except for the fact that they've done the work of harvesting your energy, which is great. They've done the work for that. So now you can bring it somewhere else. If you want to get real world value, learn some shit, and do some inner work instead of putting it all on Jeebus, then you can come over to the Quantum Tribe and be there. I'll be there, and we'll love talking to you. But the idea is that there's just like he said, we're getting 20 something views every video, which it doesn't really bother me because I absolutely love having the opportunity to sit on this platform and talk to B. And even whether or not it was being recorded, I would still be doing this with B. In fact, we did it just earlier today, so this is the second time he's hearing this. So we're revisiting my pain and my trauma for you guys, and yeah, like this is what it's about. It's about, sharing the love and letting people know, like, you don't have to take bum behavior. Like, stand up for yourself. If you don't agree with something, don't do it, and like, you don't have to do anything that no one wants you to do, right? But just know why you're doing things. Have purpose.
Another thing too, I want to kind of touch upon is, you talked about like the stuff around you, right? The people around you and how they're kind of sensing something's coming, right? So it's like your
The
aunt, and
attachment, bro. Yes.
they're sensing it, but it's
Yeah.
also like everything is a mirror, right? Reality is a mirror. And when there are people outside around you agitating you, whether it be in your direct circle, or whether it be world events or politics, whatever it is that agitates you is calling you to something within you, because it's a mirror, right? If there's somebody that's in your circle that displaying agitating behavior, it's calling you to look at something within yourself. And this is because as above, so below, right? This is something I've been sitting on this for a minute, because it's really hard to put into words. But like, you look at the exterior world, right? That solar system, or whatever you want to call it. I personally don't believe in the model that's been displayed to us and taught to us. I think it's different. I don't quite subscribe to the flat Earth model either. I think it's something. It's like the double slit experiment, right? And the nature of light. Light is a particle or a wave, depending on observation. I think that reveals a certain truth about the reality as well. Everything's just, it depends on observation of a biological entity. But anyway,
Well, now you're getting into like the semantics of what defines reality, and if reality is consciously observed, it defines it, whether as
yeah.
opposed to
So, but it's
unconsciously
also
observed.
okay. So bear with me here for a second. I'm trying to impart something that I got, a download that I got, that may be hard, a little dense, but it's okay. So you look at the outside world, above, right? So looking at the phrase "as above, so below," which is a Hermetic principle. From as above, so below. It's also in the Bible. It's talking about how the outer world is also reflected within us. How we're in the image of God, we are created, which it's all saying the same thing. It's a mystic truth that is trying to be imparted upon you. So you look at that outside world and the way it functions. It's circles going in circles, right? We got the sun and the moon, and they're going there in their cycles, and the stars are doing their cycles, and the moving stars, which are the planets, doing their cycles of sacred geometry. Look into that. You watch the star of Venus. It's a sacred geometry pattern of Venus's movements, right? So there's all these things in the cosmos happening, right? And your body. is a reflection of that. Like it's the outer world is a solar system. We are our own solar system. And then if you go down to the atom, right, which is below atom, the smallest particle of existence, and you look at the structure of the atom, what does it look like? It looks like a solar system, right?
Universe, yeah.
It's a little mini universe. So essentially, we're in a universe. We're comprised of universes, and we are a universe, right? And you'll notice this in your dreams, right? If you're when you have a dream and you're perceiving other people in your dream, it's really you, right? And you think of it as, oh, that's Joe, but when you really like get to really perceiving your dreams, like, and I'm on a level right now where I'm basically on the verge of like fully controlling my dreams. But it's just like the movie Being John Malkovich, right? When John Malkovich goes into the ninth and a half floor, which is supposed to be John Malkovich's mind, he goes into his own mind, right? And what happens is he goes into a world where everybody is John Malkovich. It's just like everybody is just him, and that's your dream world is like that, whether you understand it or not. All the entities that are conceived of by your mind are really just you. And so on a micro scale, everything within your body, all your cells of your body are just pieces of you that are trying to work together, right? And if there's disharmony within those cells, you're going to have disease and cancer and horrible things, right? So it's up to you to bring that into harmony, right? When you bring the inner world into harmony, then you start to project an energy where you're starting to bring the outer world around you into harmony. This is the as above, so below, right? And it works with disharmony too. And that's why so many people are the structure of society is designed to keep people in disharmony so that
That's why
there's
they're triggered
disharmony and
when you.
chaos.
That's why they're triggered when you walk into a room.
Yes, but this is like reality. Think of the Matrix, right? You want to call it the Matrix. The Matrix is designed to keep you in disharmony and to keep everyone around you in disharmony, and all this, the solar systems, right? This all of the many solar systems of which are people are all in disharmony. All this, and it creates disharmony in the outer world. But the wisdom behind the phrase "to change the world, change yourself," right? It was a Gandhi phrase. That's a hermetic truth as well. It's coming within. We talked about it in the first part of the episode. So the way out is in. You have to go within yourself, and everything around you is trying to distract you from this truth of like the oneness and the inner temple of God, which is your body, right? You need to come within and bring this fucking solar system within you into harmony. And when you do that, you start to bring the world around you into harmony, right? And it's gonna, but you're also gonna trigger people, right? Some people are going to come along with you and harmonize, right? And ultimately, it harmonizes the whole. But you're also going to cause a lot of friction because you don't vibe with those people who are in disharmony. But starts with you. It starts with you bringing all those elements of yourself, every cell of your being into harmony, into making yourself a harmonious solar system. And
Can
that
I add
will,
to that?
yeah, go ahead.
So with that systems, solar systems, atoms, molecular systems, all those they operate in cycles. And so the idea is that once you bring yourself into harmony, you can close out old cycles and begin new ones. And I think this is one of the things that you're trying to allude to because we talked about, as people around me are sensing my elevation, they're subconsciously trying to find ways to attach themselves to me. This is coming from everything from my friends to my neighbors to people who know me, who to people who know me well, from people who know me casually. They're trying to literally create ways to attach themselves to me. And if I'm not conscious of it, I'm just gonna allow some lower vibe person to jump on my gravy train. And well, first of all, my spirit guides already told me that's not happening because I work too damn hard to get where I'm at and no one's getting a free ride. and they're letting me know off rip who deserves and who doesn't deserve to be on this gravy train. So let's get that out the way, right? So like that's one of the things that I've been told to watch out for is that, hey, listen, you're a great person, you're kind, you're a kind person. You're not nice, right? Nice is different. Kind is different, right? Nice is like you're being a pushover. Kind is like you're allowing things. Like I have, I can be kind to people, and so I have empathy, I have compassion, and I really do want every fucking body to come with me on this spaceship, like on Noah's Ark, right? I want all of my friends and family to be there. But the truth of the matter is, not everyone's coming. Not everyone's coming. As much as I want you all to be there, not everyone's coming. And and so this is one of those things like I'm not saying that you're not invited. You're all invited, but it requires you to do the work. It requires you to do the work because you must be light as a feather to be able to go and elevate and bring your energy up to that type of frequency. Because all the baggage that you carry from what you think about, from what you think and your judgments you have upon people to the judgments that people have upon you, that you care what people think about you or what you have or what you don't have, none of that shit matters. None of it matters. All that matters is what you have with God, and He provides the rest. That's literally it.
Well,
And
that's part of the shift, right? We've been talking about the shift since this podcast began 28 episodes ago. The shift in consciousness is what's motivated us to do this podcast, and you can see the shift a lot in 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 the public, right? Like there's been a shift away from um, disharmony and inauthentic behavior, right? Like people are craving authenticity, and there's a reason. It's because authenticity is the highest vibration that we can emit. It's the highest frequency that the human being can emit. It's higher than love, because authenticity is self-love. It's you're going to be your authentic self, and you don't care what anybody else thinks. And that's the ultimate form of self-love, and that's the most powerful thing that you can be
well,
as a biological entity is
that,
authentic.
that's a double-edged sword too, because it's one of those like if you're doing right by people and you're not trying to cause harm to yourself or to other people, then yeah, who the fuck cares what you think? Right? But if you're gonna sit there and cause judgment or pain or things like that, then yeah, like, you know, maybe you should listen to what other people are saying. Maybe it's not such a great thing. Like, so there's some sort of like a little bit of logic that people would need to apply because what happens is people try and twist and turn. It's like, oh, the technicalities, but this, it's like, no, bitch, wrong is wrong and right is right. Like if you're bringing harm or loss or damage or theft or like if you're not adding value to something, you're taking it away. That's it. There's no in between. Like you're either adding value or taking it away. And and if you're taking it away, then that's selfish. That's selfish, plain and simple. Taking value from someone is selfish. Giving value to someone, that's divine. Because all we're trying to do here is give you value. We don't want nothing from you except for you to become the best version of yourself. That's it. That's love, baby.
Well,
That's it.
that's how we change the world. We've changed ourselves. We're telling you how to change yourself, because ultimately we're all invested in this reality. We're invested in this thing becoming as good as it can be. Because ultimately that's the shift. The shift is and the shift in consciousness is like there's a splitting of worlds. There's the authentic world that's going to move forward, and there's this inauthentic fake energy that is people are rejecting, I think, in droves, a lot of it. Like like Hollywood, right? For example, like people are realizing how fake it all is, how fake these people are. It's all about, and in the last election, the left was rejected by a lot of people, and now they didn't get the result they wanted because they were sold this false bill that Trump is the savior, right? But ultimately, that there's you have to look into what the data is telling us, right? Is like people went with Trump because they thought he was more authentic. They didn't care that he was maybe kind of shady, but at least they thought he was more authentic than what the left has been doing. The left has been all performance, right? Everything is about optics and how what looks good and makes you feel good, and this false righteousness of the left. Like it's not authentic, and there's a reason why a lot
But
of
look
people
how many
left.
people we're helping.
What's that?
But look how many people we're helping. We're not pieces of shit.
Yeah, and it's like so there
You're
is
really
a
helping.
there is a strong desire for authenticity and truth. I think people have come to the point where they're sick of bullshit. They're sick of fakeness. They're sick of being sold. They're sick. I think a lot of people are sick of getting pitched to, right? Like everything is some kind of sales pitch. And that was ultimately like you saw the drivers for a lot of these streaming services was people are tired of commercials, right? Because everything in this country became a fucking sales pitch, man. Everything is like this pill will make you better, this diet will make you better, this fucking product will make you better, this thing's gonna change your life. It's all this fucking pitching of constant this just garbage, right? Constant lies and inauthenticity, and people are sick of it. And I think that a lot of the young people are rejecting this old model, this thing that started when our parents were, with television and all this. It's this product, just phony, like pitching you sales, trying to sell you shit. Like we're done with it. Like that, I think a lot of people are starting to understand that there's nothing that they can buy that is going to change their life. There's nothing they can buy that is going to make their life
Right,
full and
right.
complete. And so it's this whole disharmony is it's about trying to create as much confusion and get you to run down rabbit holes looking for truth, and you can't find it, and you're just scraping and clawing, and ultimately it becomes like the Frank Zappa quote is like the illusion of freedom, right? The illusion of freedom will be kept up as long as it's profitable. Once it's no longer profitable, they're going to remove the chairs, they're going to pull
Right.
back the curtain, and you're going to see the brick walls the back of the theater.
Bro, but here
That's
we go. Here we go full circle and right back to where we began, which is they're looking everywhere else but right here.
that's and it's all design. It's all by design to keep you from seeing the oneness in your neighbor's eyes and find within you the power within. And it's the whole shadow system that's been concocted is about sucking your energy out the back door, little by little, getting you to give away your power, give away what makes you unique, give away
Keeping you dumbed
everything.
down, keeping you dumbed down with bad education, keeping you dumbed down with bad food, keeping you lethargic with bad food, keeping you not basically unhealthy. Like everything you could possibly think. This is why everything literally around you is made to kill you. Do you know that when you cut yourself, you literally heal? Did you know that? Did you know that if you weren't constantly being fucking killed by all the chemicals around you, you'd probably live a lot longer? Did you know that? Because you're always healing yourself. Obviously, we could tell because when you cut yourself, you heal yourself. So we're always healing ourselves. So what the fuck is killing us? Maybe it's the shit that we're putting in our bodies. I don't know. How's that for a thought?
Maybe it's the fact that we stopped fasting.
Yeah.
I think
3 meals a day.
fasting.
Don't forget, you gotta eat 3 meals a day,
I
even
think
if you're not hungry.
I think that getting us to and eating, as great as eating is, I love to eat. Um, it gets us more, makes us more material minded, right? Gets us more grounded in the 3D. It makes us more dense, right? It densifies our energy, and it gets our body to digest, which is takes energy, right? So if you guys ever, the longest I've ever fasted, I think was 5 days, and it's kind of life changing once you get over the hump. It's really hard to get over the hump. The hump happens around the end of day two, where you just get really freaking tired and you're hungry and you just feel discombobulated and out of sorts. But then once you break through that energy, you start to realize that you don't need to eat as much as you eat. You realize that there's something that is keeping you tethered to this reality. It's keeping you dense and low in a low vibration. And part of it is it's food and materialism and desire, right? It's all keeping you in a low vibrational state in
And
these lower
screen time.
chakras,
Don't
right?
forget the screen time.
Yeah, and you can't break out of that solar plexus chakra, right? It gets into the heart. It keeps you down here, right? And it's cycling. You're cycling down at the lower end of the
You ever
spectrum.
notice? You ever notice how people are scrolling and they're either looking at food or butt cheeks or abs or food or butt cheeks or abs? Like,
Yeah. No,
it's like
and I think deep down we know this, right? It's like what makes you feel or what makes you feel like kind of shitty, or it makes you feel like I shouldn't be watching this. You jerk off, and then you get that guilt right after that post nut guilt, where you're just like, man, I'm a piece of shit. I can't believe I did that again. Like every guy feels that. I know that. Like it's this like post nut guilt where you're just like,
at least once
and
you enlighten yourself, I
yeah,
feel like it's
well,
before
no,
that.
I think it's at least for like a couple of minutes after you nut, like you feel like, man, wow, I can't believe I keep doing this. Like because deep down, you're giving away your energy and it's not
You're
right.
a
It's
scumbag.
dirty. It's gross. It's gross, right? Like, so like there's indicators, right? And your body will tell you when something's off, when something's not right. And it's like you keep going against the grain, and there's a little voice in you that says, "Hey, yeah, you shouldn't do that, dude. That's kind
Yeah,
of nasty."
that's not
Or
being done. It's
or
not
yeah,
being
that's not healthy. Like I remember, like I quit cigarettes in October, and I switched to the vape. But it's been 5 months since I vaped. Like I'm completely free of nicotine. But it was one of
nice.
those things where every time I'd spark a cigarette, I'd have that little voice. That's going to kill you, right? Like when you're doing stuff wrong. So it's like just about breaking out of that shit. We got 2 minutes left. I got another quote. Do you want to keep going? I think we could probably maybe have a little break, and then we'll sum it up. But here's a
All
quote
right.
from Manly P. Hall. This is the psychology of religious ritual. In the sanctuary of his faith, man sees the image of his gods and saints gazing down from their shrines and niches. He does not realize that these are the embodiments of the powers and resources in his own soul. He does not know that he venerates the good in others because of the good which is within himself. He has not learned that his own aspirations, guiding him to the living of a better life, are the substances behind the shadows of religious pageantry. The true priest is his own spirit, the master of his secret house. Around this spirit are the faculties in the heart and mind as attendant ministrants. The cup of the Eucharist is his own heart, in which flows the blood of the ever living God. He may not know the actual meaning of the rites, but he feels and accepts them because they are alive within himself. Thus, he renews a covenant and restates his allegiances to the spiritual mystery in which he lives and moves as has his being.
Yeah, pretty much feeling your way through it.
It's all fucking thought and emotion, thought and emotion. You bring it into
Yeah. Align
balance.
align your brain, your crown with the heart, and in between with the throat, because you're gonna speak things, right? So the speaking the things between the crown and the heart. Now what you say is what matters.
Power of
Is it
life and
aligned?
death. The power
Is
of
it
life and
aligned?
death is in the tongue. We'll be back to finish it all off.
You're-
Are you tired of these lo-fi brands that use sweatshop labor that everybody wears?
You looking for a t-shirt brand that's going to set you apart from all the normies?
Well, it's time to ascend to another level of style with Alchemystic Apparel.
Everyone in the fifth dimension's talking about it. Christ himself has his own shirt. He's the Lion of Judah. The devil himself wants to get in on the action, but he can't have one. You know why? Because I took his head and I put it on a shirt.
I know what you're thinking.
Mr. Alchemistic, I'm not a devastatingly handsome middle-aged man. I don't know if Alchemistic Apparel is for me.
Don't be Delulu like Lulu. Alchemystic Apparel is for everybody.
Get lucky with the four-leaf friends. Get Egyptian with Osiris. Got a bunch of haters? Pull a death card on them. mom is gonna love Mystic Pyramid. Heck, even dogs love Alchemystic Apparel. It's time to step out of three-dimensional clothing and step in to Alchemystic Apparel. The link is in my bio.
And we're back for this grand season finale of season 2, Quantum Alchemists. And it's been quite a ride. It's been a nice year-long journey with you, Alex, of getting into my interior world, because it's, people that are on this journey are the only ones who really understand it. Like I know you've gone through this. I've definitely been going through this, especially recently. The people in my direct circle do not understand the journey I'm on. I've tried to explain it to them. And whether it's they don't want to understand it or it just doesn't quite hit, like we've been given a gift, but it's also in some ways a curse if it's received or if you go about it the wrong way, right? It can be a gift. The spiritual path can be a gift or a curse because of what it's calling you to do. And
Yep.
it can be very lonely and isolating. And, like I've been dealing with it in my environment here in Georgia. The people don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand my art. Like, I mean, I could sit here literally for hours going through the symbolism in these art pieces and why I was compelled to make it a certain way. What this new art piece means, I could probably sit here for an hour and explain to you all the little nuances of it. Definitely this one right here, the Infinite Mask. I got a whole poem written about this thing. So it's like I'm channeling this divine sacred energy into my work, but it's like mostly falls upon deaf ears because what you're given a key to is a world that most people can't see. There's a subtle world behind this physical world. And when you're on the spiritual path, you're seeing that world. And it's a world that most people don't understand or even know exists. So you come off as crazy. And if you go down the wrong way, you can go crazy, right? There's spiritual psychosis is a real thing. A lot of people are caught in it. And I think it's part of the journey to get caught in that psychosis at some point and to get yourself out of it. It's one of the challenges of the journey is like you come face to face with this truth about oneness. And a lot of people can go the shadow way of the ego. The ego will pull you into this way of like, this is where the cult leaders come in, right? And people who take the dark path of spirituality. There's the white path and then there's the black lodge, right? That we've warned about of, spiritual power comes with a certain responsibility. And a lot of people that don't do the work that don't want to do the work will end up going to the black way, which is the shortcuts, right? The dark magic, the getting trying to bend the energy to their own will rather than following the will of the creator. And so there's a lot of pitfalls, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this is like we've gone through the ringer. Me and Alex have both gone through the ringer with this process and feel like we're in a position to help others. That's ultimately what we want to do. That's ultimately why we started. It's ultimately where we're going is to be put in a position to help others across this dark, invisible bridge through the ether. And it's rewarding, but it's also very demanding. If you aren't up to the task and you don't do the work, you can't latch on to somebody like me or Alex and hope we drag you through it. We're giving as much energy as we can with this podcast and the things that we're doing to try to help others. And so ultimately, it's just our warning to you is like, don't try to attach to us and expect us to be your savior. Don't attach to anybody and like Trump or your religion or your political party or anything in the exterior. Nothing outside of you is going to save you. You need to
Yep.
get inside of yourself and do the work. And that's ultimately the message of today. And the podcast at large, really, this entire 2 seasons that we've done, this whole year full of work has kind of encompassed this message. It's like, yeah, I'm 100% willing to grab this light here that's inside of me and try to guide you. But ultimately, you got to light your own candle, right? You got to light your own candle and follow behind me. And it's just the nature of the work is it cannot be done by anybody but yourself.
Yeah, so true. And like we're gonna continue doing great things, and we invite you all to do your part. Um, pretty soon, I don't even want to talk about what's to come in the future because like we've talked. If you guys want to know, definitely watch some of our previous episodes. And just know that when we come back, the next time you see these two beautiful faces, they're gonna be on a completely different level. And we invite you to do some work while we take a little break away from the screen and do our own internal work. And we invite you to do some of your own inner work and comment down below and let us know like how it goes. This today is July 10th, 2025. So in the future, whenever you do see this, like we'll keep checking back. This is time and space and in history that we'll be able to look back and say, yeah, we talked about those things, we said those things, and for those of you who are just tuning in, this podcast has been very prophetic to some degree. We've talked about a lot of really amazing things that have come to pass, and I
We've
have
had our
no,
finger. That's one of the things I'm most proud of about being able to look back at the things we've brought you guys is that we had our finger on the pulse of a lot of things. I called Trump winning the election before it happened. We've called a lot of the astrological events and kind of foreshadowed a lot of things that were to come, and they ended up playing out almost exactly how we said. And it's something we can hang our hat on as like kind of a testimony of where we're at. Is like
yeah,
we aren't just blowing smoke, like we are. It's not an ego thing either. It's just a testament to the work that we've done, that we are tapped into an energy beyond just the physical, of beyond this vessel. Like there is something guiding us, that we are taking a lot of steps in the dark. But when you see it come to fruition, when you see the things that the little birdie chirping in your ear, the downloads we get, and then we share it, and then it comes to pass, it's like, yes, it just reinforces our faith, that
yeah,
we are walking with the divine, and we are on our path. And it may not be happening as fast as we would like it to happen, but it's not our timing, it's the divine timing. And
right.
ultimately it happens when it's supposed to happen. And that's something, if you're discouraged, and a lot of people are discouraged right now. It's like I consume a lot of spiritual content online, and a lot of people are going through the same thing. And it's due to the astrological stuff happening, right? And then you follow the Schumann resonance. It's been spiking. There's been timeline shifts and quantum leaps and quantum this and that. There's a lot of stuff happening, and it's you're going to be challenged, and you're going to have your faith tested over and over and over again. And there is no like there's no top of the mountain where you get there and you say, all right, well, I'm done. Like this is a journey. This is like it's just like the tarot, right? If you really delve into the tarot and the meanings behind the cards, especially the major arcana, it's a cycle, right? You get to the world card, and then you start over again at the fool, and then it's this constant journey. You're on this wheel, right? We're on this cycle, the cyclical journey. Life is not linear; it is cyclical, right? And you're constantly being given tests to cycle up or cycle to the side, or you could definitely spiral downwards too. It's
Devolution or evolution.
yeah, devolution or evolution. Are you going to evolve? Are you going to learn the lesson this time? Because it's going to come back around, and it's going to keep coming back around until you learn the lesson. And you're either going to go up and spiral up, or you're going to spiral down. And
We
you
hope you
are a
choose.
spiral, And the world, the reality is a spiral. You can see in the middle. I put spirals in a lot of my work because the spiral is the Fibonacci sequence is literally coded in reality, which is what I talked about last episode. You know, this is a construct. If you guys don't want to believe that something created this thing, it is a construct. And the mathematics and the physics, quantum physics, and science bears it out. And when you really delve into the minutia of the information that is out there for us, this is a construct. And
You know, you know what the really cool thing is? I've been talking to some people out here in 3D, and more so than not, like lately, I've been talking to people and about this stuff, and people are more receptive now than I think they ever have been. Um, I almost immediately go into like these types of conversations with people if I'm hanging out in a closed setting, and like I want to see what people's like how people view reality, how people view this 3D matrix. And for the most part, like 9 out of 10 people they're all aware of the same constructs that we're talking about. They're all aware of it, but I think the hard part is the navigating and making the decisions. Because what I see is, and I'll look and I don't I don't bring judgment upon people and their choices, but what I do is I do observe. I do observe and I take notes because I'm like, okay, like this person's talking about this is going on in their life and this and that, and then I see how they're carrying out their day-to-day activities, and I can easily tell you why your life is a certain way just by looking at the things that you do every day. And it sucks, but it's like you don't want to hear that from me, like, and that's the type of stuff where like, and some people do. Some people will appreciate that, and sometimes you're gonna have to tell them, and you're gonna have to accept or be willing to accept whatever lashback you get from telling people the truth. And if you really love people, you're gonna tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And B and I often, I'll go into B offline, off the camera about stuff, and I don't hold back because I love B and I want him to win too. And I don't think I've given any reason for B to go into me yet, but one of these days we'll figure it out. But you
no, I
know,
mean that's one of the things that's like I was saying earlier is like this podcast and just meeting you in general has been a blessing because it's like another me outside of me that gets me. So like I can bring him issues and look, we don't have all the answers and our lives aren't fucking as abundant as we would like, right? Like we're still grinding, looking for those pinnacles, right? We're trying to turn this wheel of fortune in our favor and it can be hard. Like I have days where I'm just exhausted and I'm just fed up and I'm just like, why? How long am I going to have to wait? How long am I going to have to keep doing this same stuff? Like sometimes it feels like Groundhog Day. And Alex has been a real big resource for me to keep me in line, to get me to realize. And this is something also is like being able to check myself, right? Like I went
yeah,
through this period in my life where I was absolutely miserable because my health was bad. Like I almost died. I think I've told this story before. I had a really bad gallbladder infection that almost killed me. And that was kind of the beginning of really taking that next step in my spiritual journey. Is like I came to this almost dying, right? Like a lot of people that go on the spiritual path have this type of experience, a near death experience, right? But before I had this experience, I was grappling a long time with gallstones. Like, and I had this experience for a good couple of years where it was miserable to eat. Like there were things I could not eat, and like I couldn't eat ice cream, could not really eat
oh, man.
pizza. Anything with cheese or dairy or any would really give me like extreme problems. And if you have had a gallbladder issue, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. There are certain things that you cannot do. You cannot drink alcohol and eat greasy food. It will destroy you. You will be literally miserable for hours of pain. It felt like a balloon was being blown up in my body, right? Because
Mm,
literally, it's kind of what's happening. You have a gallstone that's in the lodge of the bile of the duct between your gallbladder and your stomach, because your gallbladder is giving your stomach bile to help it digest things. But when you have gallstones, you'll get a stone lodged in that passage, and your gallbladder literally blows up with bile. It gets like bigger. So that's what it feels like. It's fucking excruciating. They say it's like the worst pain that you could possibly have. It's worse than childbirth. On the scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 50. It's really, really painful. And like, so I used to have these like if I tried to eat ice cream, right, I would go through these periods where I wouldn't have any attacks. So I would get brave and I'd be like, well, I think I'm gonna have some ice cream and I would have it and it would kill me, right? And then yesterday, I've since gotten my gallbladder removed, and it was definitely a great fucking changing point in my life where I could finally eat regular things again. And I was yesterday, I was having a moment of gratitude because I was eating this big fucking bowl of ice cream, and it was like I remembered, right, to be grateful for that ice cream because there was a time in my life where I could not eat ice cream. I couldn't eat hardly anything. And like when it got really bad, the only thing I could eat was bananas. It was the only thing I could eat that would not give me fucking horrible pain in my side. And I lost a lot of weight. And like I said, I almost died. I literally got to the point of cirrhosis and septic and being septic. It was so bad that when I finally went into the doctor and went to the emergency room, and they told me like if you had waited much longer, you would have fucking died.
Wow.
Um, so like it's important to really be grateful and to be able to and to for me, I need sometimes I lose sight of that, of like how bad my life really was at one point. I was literally afraid to eat, and eating is one of the essential things, right? Like it's but it's something we take for granted. And so I'm trying to get into the state where I look at everything that way, right? Like I get to take these awesome walks in nature, and I see like deer and stuff in their natural setting. I get to see waterfalls, and like it's just beautiful. It's beautiful here in Georgia. So but Alex checks me whenever I fall out of that gratitude, and I'm very grateful for that, brother. So if you're on the spiritual path, find yourself try to get yourself in a state where you start attracting people like Alex, right? Like that's one of the things I'm very grateful for is I got to a state in my journey where Alex and I we had known each other, but we didn't know each other,
Right.
and we had this in at Cinco de Mayo party last year. We connected on that next level, and it's what set the stage to set the motions for this podcast. And I thank God every day that you've come into my life, bro. Because like literally, when I fall out of line, you check me right back into place. So I appreciate that, dude.
Right.
I hope you know how much I appreciate you and how much you've really helped me get through this really rough patch of having to leave home and leave everything and everyone I know and come. And it's been a blessing, but there have been drawbacks, there have been setbacks, and if I didn't have you, bro, I don't know what where it would have went. So it's I
Well, I'm
definitely am
honored.
thankful.
I'm honored. Thank you. And it's been definitely a pleasure to be here and talk to you. And I've grown tremendously, and I've seen things differently too from other perspectives. And you're spot on. You're a very intelligent, very bright person, very well in tune with your surroundings, with your spiritual side, with your guidance. And like you have the knowledge, brother. There's nothing that I told you that you didn't already know. So it's like you have the
Like I said,
knowledge.
no, it's to 100% like having another me to remind
Yeah.
me of me, like remind me, like because I do need that, right? It's one of my traumas of like of unworthiness, or like the patterns that I've worked so hard to heal out of myself is like not recognizing myself and what I really am capable of. And it's one of the reasons why I am in the position I'm in. It's one of the things, the cycles, right? I've talked about cycles, that you're going to keep getting the same test, and then you're going to it's like you're getting tested to see if you're going to apply and cycle up, right? And so having you there to help, it's basically like having almost like a cheat guide on the test a lot of the time. because I'll bring you the problems I'm going through and you'll remind me. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay. And it helps me to reinforce the things that I know. I already know it, right? Like I've been through this journey. Like you and I, we're definitely seeing things from a bird's eye view, but we're still human. We still have tendencies to get lost in our 3D circumstances because it's um it's not easy to be this knowledgeable but to not be where you think you should be. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like it gets old, but like the surroundings aren't going to change until you've internalized the change, and then even then some.
Right.
There's
It
going to
takes
be
time.
straggling energy, right? Like this is
Mhm.
something I keep coming across. Is the same. It's basically just reinforcing what I already know. Is like I know it's going to happen. The things that we've been prepared for are going to happen. The things that we see and understand are going to happen because it's about embodying, right? You talk about embodiment, right? You have to embody the teaching and the understanding and the knowing, and it's all internal. So even when you take that, make that switch, that quantum leap, the 3D still takes time to catch up to the quantum, right? Because time, I mean, time is an illusion ultimately, and you have to realize that it's an illusion. You have to embody that version of you that you know you are, and then it's going to catch up. But
Yeah.
it's all the tests, right? It's testing you along the way to see if you falter or fall backwards, or you stop believing. But it's like I've been too far down the road to turn back now. So it's like what you have to do is just keep
There's there's
embodying.
there's a line that comes to mind, and that I said this before in one of the previous episodes, and that was, if you align your will with his will, then it will. And that is the ultimate key to manifestation, in my opinion.
100%, brother. I think that's a good place to end it, man. I think
Yep.
we've said a lot in these 28 episodes, these 2 seasons. If you guys are just coming to the podcast now, I urge you go back, watch our other episodes. They will be, I mean, as even though it's a year of time that has progressed in these making of these episodes, the things we say are still relevant because ultimately time is an illusion. The things that we're saying, the knowledge that we are imparting upon you is
Timeless.
timeless. It's
Timeless.
and the circumstances of the world may be changing, but the things that we are saying, it's unchanging, right?
That's
It's
infinite truth.
yeah. And so I feel like what we're doing is a valuable service of all condensing a lot of knowledge that we've achieved and come across and just make baking you bread, right? That was the metaphor we use, is like we've taken all the breadcrumbs for that have led us into rabbit holes, and we baking bread and giving you bread. And so go back and break bread with us, find those episodes that we've been talking about, and I mean, binge them. Start from episode 1 if you have to, and you like what we're saying, go back and watch them all. And
Feel
it's all
free to
there on our
comment.
YouTube.
Feel free to comment, reach out.
Yeah,
Well, our
like
socials are on there. Connect with us. We're not impossible people to reach if you have any questions. I know that there's a lot of confused people right now that are, that, and my guides are telling me that there's people that want to reach out and ask questions, but they're afraid to. Don't be afraid to reach out. And then people who maybe misjudged or mischaracterized me in the past, or maybe be in the past, all it takes is a little bit of communication. Like, we understand, we understand that we could be wrong about things, but to move forward, we have to accept that we were wrong about things, and only then can you move to the next step. So, you know, I love you, viewer, whoever you are. And if you've somehow trespassed against me, just know that thanks to you, I'm a better person today. So I love you for it. And if you haven't and you're thinking about doing it in the future, I would recommend you don't do it. But whatever, you're gonna make me a better person for it too. So I love you too. And for all of you, those of you who have helped us get to where we are today, we are forever indebted to you, and we love you completely. I love you. I don't know about B, but I'm sure he does too. I love B. So, what I'm saying? Like, this is it, man. And this is really all it's about. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I don't know. I'm out.
I think I should leave us with a quote.
There you go. I love it. Yes, mandatory quote.
I think
Mandatory quote.
we've been doing these quotes for quite some
Far too
time.
long. Far too long.
Pretty much the entire run of this podcast, we've been giving you guys little nuggets, mostly from Omron, Mikhail Ivanov, and Manly P. Hall. I think we should do a Manly P. Hall quote
There you
because
go.
probably my favorite. And if you guys really want to get into some esoteric knowledge, go find Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. It is an invaluable tool to understanding the occult and understanding mysticism and symbology. So let's see. Oh, this is actually all right. This is from Visions and Metaphysical Experiences, and we will use this Manly P. Hall quote to top off season 2. Before associating himself with any form of esotericism, each sincere person must make an in-depth study of himself. He should examine every defect of his character and observe with impersonal honesty the various expressions of his mental and emotional faculties and powers. 4 basic temperaments, identified with the 4 elements, are distinguishable, each of which has its negative aspects. There is the earthy type, content to drift along, seeking only the fulfillment of creature comforts. The Neoplatonists considered such individuals as sleeping through the days of their years. The watery type is truly a slave of the moon and is under the tyranny of imagination. He dwells in a private universe of make-believe, which he populates with the progeny of his own wishful thinking. The fiery type is driven by his own emotions. He is restless, intense, and afflicted with inner conflicts. His principal purpose is the immediate fulfillment of desires and appetites. The airy type is thoughtful, capable of unfolding his mental resources, but apt to fall into the illusion of intellectual materialism. Advanced members of this classification make good scholars, and those less enlightened become sophisticates, skeptics, or cynics. It is unlikely that the members of these 4 groups will ever change the basic drives they regard as their dispositions, but a refinement of character is possible.
Wow.
Incredible.
I can agree with that more.
Man,
I could
Manly P. Hall is right on, man. People like to shit on the Freemasons, and he is definitely one of the Freemasonry forefront. He's the forefront of Freemasonry, but he's always spot on with his spiritual assessments, and those perfectly describe the different types of people. And you get into astrology and the zodiac signs. Like he pretty much described to a T the shadow aspects of each elemental side, like the water signs, the fire signs, the air signs, and the earth signs. He basically described to a T, and whatever your sign is, what you would, like I said earlier, you guys know deep inside of you, and that's where the temple is. It's inside of you, and it's your gut screaming at you the things you got to do. You know what you got to do. So while we take this little break and reset, and in this season, we urge you, go within, find those things that you've been telling yourself you need to do, and do them, and start walking that path.
tune
And
out the distractions.
yeah, tune out the distractions, go within. The temple is you. You are the temple. And yeah, you got to do the work. So do the work, and we'll see you in season 3. We love you.
We love you. Peace.
Till next time.